Hello fellas, welcome to Blizzy Stitches once again. So today we want to be discussing on how to read your tape measures, or you call it tape rule. Now we know for a fact that every fashion designer make use of a tape rule. If you've not seen it before, help me with one. Let me show you how it looks like. For those that are completely beginners, you've never come across this is what we call the tape measure, or you call it the tape rule. Now when we talk about tape rules or tape measures, we or measuring tape. Today we want to be talking about the imperial mode. We have the imperial mode of measuring, and we also have the metric. Okay, so the imperial talks about the measurement that are done in yards, length, inches, and then the metric talks about the measurement done in centimeters and okay, which has to do with the inches. Now I know a lot of you might be confused as why do we have to even discuss tape measuring. This is because you cannot be a good fashion designer if you don't know how to interpret your tape measures or your tape rules. You cannot, transfer those imaginations that you have about a particular design on a visible, usable, and wearable outfit if you don't know how to walk around with your tape measures. So today, I want to tell you or teach you or take you through the process of how to interpret a tape rule accurately and how to read your tape rules. So now using the imperial mode, we know that we likely see things like this. Sorry if I'm covering you. I hope my hand is showing. So you have the metallic, okay? Take for instance, this is the metallic, all right? This is the metallic head, and your tape rule goes this way. Manage my structural material with me. So now you have bold lines. Basically, you have 4 significant bold lines. If I'm correct, I have to confirm that before, moving into 1, 2, 3, yeah, 4 significant bold lines basically before you enter into another inch. So now, when you look at the tape rule, you're going to see a very okay. Now let's work on. Ignore this. I'm about to restrike so you know how to follow up. Because right. So now on your tape measure, you're going to likely see something like a long line followed by a little dot. And after that little dot, you have another bold line followed by a little dot. And after that, you're going to see another long bold line that is longer than this, followed by a little dot and another bold line followed by a little dot. Okay, before you have the big bold number. So now, what this is trying to tell you is that for every tape measure between an inch, this is 1 inch, this is 2 inches. If I'm to indicate that 1 inch, 2 inches. But on your tape rule, you're still going to see something like 1, 2, 3. They're not going to be writing the inches, but just know that this first big bold line represents 1 inch. Now we want to discuss the point in between your 2 big whole numbers. Let's say that this is big whole number 1. This is the nearest whole number, which is 2. Big whole number 1, big whole number 2. 1 inch, 2 inches. So for each big line or each longest line represents an inch. The next long line duplicates the inch and it becomes inches. The next longest line duplicates the inches and it still continues as inches. Okay, that is when you're working with more than one longest line. Okay, so it becomes 2 longest lines, and that is 2 inches, 3 longest lines, and that is 3 inches, 4 longest lines, and that is 4 inches. All right, so but have it at the back of your mind that one longest line represents 1 inch. Okay, now there are points in between your tape rule. All right, and I'm going to bring the photograph out, but if you count this number, this is 1 inch, right? And you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and the next longest whole number, which is making it 8 point. Okay, because I like to add this one to it, but if you don't want to add the whole number to the point, you can leave it as point. But the truth is, you cannot count the whole number without counting the point, and you cannot also get to the whole number without getting through with the point first. So now when someone says a point, what does a point in a tape rule means? This is what the person is talking about. What's the point? These tiny lines that you're seeing here in between two longest whole numbers, or in between two longest lines, is referred to as point. And this point here has a lot to do with the human compartment, because your body, like I did in the illustration earlier on, is divided into 4. And then the vertical measurement makes use of point in as much as the horizontal measurement. If I'm measuring from my brows to my eyelid, this is a point. Okay, it could be 2 points, it could be 3 points away from each other. But for me to get to here, I need something in between, okay, that helps me connect. And that is what the tape rule simply does. It connects one body point to the other, right? It leads your shoulder to, it shows you the distance between your shoulder to your bust to your underbust to your waist to your knee. So the point is what helps you to determine the distance, the range, okay? The range, the distance, the length from one point of your body to the other. All right, if that serves me right, if it's going to be simple enough for you to understand. So now when I say on the tape rule 1/4, this is what I'm referring to, which is 2 points away from the longest line. 2 points away from the longest line, 1/4. And this is the same thing as, okay, and this is the same thing as saying 1/4. 1/4. If I say 1/4, it means 2 points away from the longest line, and it's the same thing as me saying 1/4. It means 1/4. I can as well refer it to as 1.25 or 0.25, because that's how some people would explain it to you. But just know that this particular point here is referred to as 1/4, which means 1/4. Okay, now the next smallest point, or the next one you're going to see, is a small point. And then if I say 1/3, it means 3 points away from the longest line. That is 1/3, and it's the same thing as saying
3/8. 3/8.
I know you're going to be asking, how did we do it? Now, if you count from the longest line, if you count the point in between, it's going to be 3 points. So you have 1 point, 2 points, 3 points. So that's why we're referring it to as 1/3. The next one you're going to be seeing is the next longest line close to this particular one that you're seeing here. And then we refer to it as half. Now, when we say 1/2, we're simply referring to 4 points away from the longest line. 4 points away from the longest line, and this is it. So you can either refer to it as 1/2 or 0.5. Whichever one you make use of, it still refers to half of a whole number, which means you divide it by 2, what you have is what we refer to as 1/2 or 0.5. So when I say divide the tape, divide 2 by half, it means what? 1. Okay, divide 2 by half means 1. next point you are going to see here is referred to as 5
over 8.
or 0.6. That is how many points away from the longest number? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now if you add up your longest number, counting from your longest line, you're going to have 6. So we count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6. So now why is it known as 0.6? It is a point added to your half. Okay? So if we say this is 0.5, okay, this is 0.5, and it's referred to as 0.6, counting alongside with your longest line or with your whole number, but exclusively from your whole number, this is referred to as 5. Now the next one is likely referred to as 0.75. Okay, 0.75, which is the same thing as saying 7. That 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so now, like I said in the beginning of the video, a whole number without point cannot be referred to as a whole number. It is a point on its own until there are other points in between. That is when this can become a whole number. That's why we're saying that it's 8 points that makes a whole number. So if you start with this as a point, you say point 1, you understand, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and you have 8. The next one is a whole number. All right. So I don't know if this is simple enough for you, but then if I say mark 0.75, it is okay for you to call it 0.75. If I say mark 0.75 on your table, you should be able to know that it is the nearest bold line close to this other one, which is 2 inches. Okay, so on your table, this is where I'm referring to. If I say 1, look at it here, we count, and if I say 1, see from the indicator what I'm referring to. I'll still mark them out, but this visual is also important. Okay, whichever method you would want to embody at the end of the day is totally dependent on you. No limitation, there's no barrier to how you want to interpret the tape, but just know that whatsoever you're doing, it should be accurate and it should be transferable, relatable, and also produce a good result at the end of the day. So now I'm going to be running it through. If you don't understand what I'm saying or you're having issues in between, do well to drop your comment on the comment box or your question on the comment box, and I'm going to answer you. But basically, this is how to read your tape rule. The same way you'll be doing 1.5, 1.6, 1.4, 1 over 6, 1 over 7. That's how when you go to 2, you're going to be doing 2.1, 2.4, 2.5, 2.6, 2.75, and so on and so forth. So for each whole number, there is a point. For each longest line, there is a point in between. And 8 points makes a whole number. 8 points makes a whole number, and then a whole number in fashion designing is referred to as an inch. When we are discussing the imperial mode of measurement or imperial mode of tape measuring, okay? But when we talk about the what is it called, the metric, which is going to be a video like another video entirely, because I don't want to bulk you. I want you to understand how to read the inches side of the tape rule for now. That is the imperial side of the tape rule, which has to do with the length, the yards, the inches. Okay, so now when you are accustomed with this, I might likely come up with a video on how to interpret your centimeter side of the tape rule, which is the metric method of interpretation of a tape rule. All right, so now the next video on the channel is going to be how to take your basic body's measurement, making use of this tape rule. And please, at this point, if you've not subscribed to our channel yet, what are you waiting for? Please do well to share the love among people. Be a part of the family by subscribing to our channel and turning on that notification bell so that anytime we drop a video, you are going to be a part of it. And if you're also liking what you're learning here, why not go ahead and spread the good news by sharing the video to your friends, loved ones who might also be interested in learning fashion, everything about lifestyle and craft. Thank you so much. Remember to hit on that like button.